Welcome back to the Notary Podcast with Daniel C. Lewis. And today I have a very, very, very special guest. I have put three varies in there because this is our third time doing this, but I'm so happy to have her back. It's hard to get on her schedule. LaKrisha Newbill. She is a coach, a women's coach, a business coach, and she is fantastic. She's known all around this area as being a very successful coach. She's doing speaking engagements around Indianapolis, and she's going to help us today talk about different aspects of coaching, why you need a coach, how to overcome objections. So introduce yourself, LaKrisha.
Yes. Hi, my name is LaKrisha Newbill, as he already introduced me. But I am the owner of NspireU Coaching. I'm a success coach for NspireU Coaching. I'm also the owner of AspireU Notary, where I'm a newer notary to the business.
Yes.
I've been a notary now for a couple of months. And so, yeah, I'm really grateful to be here to be able to talk to Daniel and all of you.
How do you like being a notary, getting into that field, diversifying your business?
I really do like it. So being a coach, like you mentioned, I've had some speaking engagements. But being a coach, I do everything online. And so I don't have the interaction with people face to face. So getting out there, doing the notary work, being able to talk to people face to face is really uplifting for me, but also being able to see people and help them to reach the next step that they want in life. And so I enjoy that on the coaching side, but then also on the notary side, being able to finalize the steps for them to be able to just obtain the home of their dreams or being able to sell something, whatever the case may be.
So since you do the coaching online, you can coach anybody in the country then, right?
Yeah.
Anywhere. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
The furthest away one of my clients was in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing. That's a really good. Now, can you share a bit about your background and how you became a coach?
Sure. So I spent 17 years in the field of HR as an HR professional.
Okay.
Really enjoyed the interaction with people, of course. And through the time, towards the end of my journey, I realized that I wanted to go into the field of coaching. So I started a program as a coach to gain my education as a coach, and then started a position with the University of Notre Dame. And within that first month, they actually brought coaching education to the HR consultants.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, okay, the synchronicity, this is exactly where I'm supposed to be. And so no longer did I have to pay for that training and education, but it was paid for by them. And so I spent the 3 years that I was there being able to coach individuals, individual contributors, as well as leaders across campus to be able to have great conversations with the people that they work with, but also be able to move forward with the goals that they had. And so moving from the University of Notre Dame into my next job, when I moved here to Indianapolis, I realized that I really wanted to start my own coaching business. And the thing that I knew is that I wanted to help women realize what they really wanted to do in life. Because for me, I just remember after a time in my life, a close friend asking me, what do you like to do? What do you enjoy? And I didn't know, I didn't really know who I was. And so it's really important for me to work with women to help them understand who they are, what do they enjoy, whether it's in their personal lives or their career. Everything is interconnected, really, when you think about it. And so I started my business and didn't really do much with it because I was working a full-time job that was requiring a lot of hours, as we all know when we work full-time jobs, And after a few years of not doing much with it, I started to really get into it and decided that I wanted to leave my full-time job and just pursue coaching 100%. And so that's what I did last year. And so here we are. And, as most entrepreneurs, they have multiple streams of income and different ways of just being able to connect. And so for me, that was where I brought in the notary business.
Oh, very nice. So let me ask you this. What are some of the misconceptions people have about getting a coach or using a coach? What are some of the misconceptions about that?
Yeah, so one of the big misconceptions, all coaches are different, but for me, one of the big misconceptions is that I'm going to be your coach and I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. And that's not how I operate. So I was trained by agencies that work with the International Coaching Federation. And the ICF defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them, InspireU coaching, inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Okay. The process of coaching often unlocks previously untapped sources of imagination, productivity, and leadership. And so with that, right, I do not operate in the space of telling people what to do. Like I work with them to pull out the things that are already in them that they really haven't tapped into.
So you help people, because I know a lot of people in our audience, they're coming out of corporate America, going into entrepreneurship, and it's totally different avenue where they're doing everything in that corporate America. They're telling what time to come in, what time to go to the restroom, what time to go to lunch. But when you become an entrepreneur, you have to kind of figure that out yourself. And I find that a lot of people, they don't know how to tap, just like what you said, tap into that area of themselves. So how do you help them with that?
Yeah, so it's really based on the individual, right? It could be one thing for you, it could be another thing for Sally Sue, right? It's really based on the individual. And so working with them to understand what are the roadblocks that they're facing, whether it's any emotional, mental, like physical sometimes, depending on the people that are within their circle. It could be that as well. So it's really dependent upon the person.
No. Well, let me ask you this, because I know a lot of people, when I talk to success coaches, I get a different answer, but I want to ask you this. How do you define success, and how does your definition of success influence your coaching style?
Yeah. So success for me is not, some people are like climbing the corporate ladder. That's what success is. Being a millionaire, that's what success is. Success is defined differently for every single person, right? It's about the successful life that you want to live. So whether it means, having a business and being able to just work that business and being able to pay your bills, which, I think that, people should have more than just paying their bills. You should be able to enjoy life. And so that's where I go into, like, what does it mean for you to enjoy life, right? And for me, that's what it means to be successful. It's actually enjoying the life that you've been given to live.
Wow. So am I hearing this right? You're tailoring your coaching style to each individual. It's not just a one size fit all. You want to make sure that person taps into their potential the right way, because everybody has different background. Is that what I'm hearing? Wow, that's pretty powerful. Can you share a particular memorable success story that you had as a coach?
Yeah, I get to pick from a few. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm thinking about one. It was one of my first clients from when I left my job. And, we've been going through this period of time where people have just been experiencing layoffs, right? You get in a job, you get laid off, and you have to get out there and find another job. Well, this client came to me right after she was laid off from her job, first job that she had once she gained her education and certification in this specific field. And so, of course, she's like, this is golden, this is great. But then she was let go without any money, and it just really wore on her. So within that week of being let go, we connected. She chose to invest in herself, which a lot of times people don't do. They don't want to do that. But she chose to invest in herself. We moved forward with the coaching. And within a couple of weeks, like that person that I initially spoke to that was really upset, that was crying, that was in a really bad headspace. Within a couple of weeks, I saw her just begin to brighten up, and, the life was back in her. And seeing her move forward, she put herself out there. She decided to pursue the passions that she had dropped before. She decided to move forward with launching a business.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she decided to do that. But she also decided to put herself out there in the market to find another job. The wonderful thing about that is that, like, right before we were ending the coaching sessions, she had a few interviews. And I remember her telling me, LaKrisha, I had this interview. Of course, they were going to pay her money. It was money she was going to be able to pay the bills.
Yep.
But she knew her worth, right? Whereas in the beginning, if she had just been offered this job, she probably would have taken it because she's like, I just lost my job. I need money. But she knew her worth, and she decided to pass on that opportunity. And when she passed on that opportunity, she had another opportunity that came up for her, and she just loved it, right? She just knew that was the place that she needed to be.
Yeah.
She knew, what she could bring, what the value she could bring. She knew her worth and what she was offering and what they could also provide with her. And she accepted that position. Of course, they offered it to her and she accepted it. So we ended the coaching sessions with her being able to move forward with a new job, and she had a totally different mindset. And so if that happened again in her life, she knew that she would be able to move forward, and it wasn't something that was going to hold her back.
So you helped her discover and tap into what her true value was.
Right.
So now she's really thriving now.
Exactly.
Wow. Wow. If there's one reason to go with a coach, then that's a great reason, because that really can help. What are some of the misconceptions people have about coaching, you think?
Yeah.
Or getting coached?
Yeah. So getting coached, it's that they're going to have, right away have these things that are going to completely change in their life. Coaching is a process.
Yeah.
Right? So there could be something that could be what you may think is minor, or I may think is minor, that you're going to make a change really quickly, right?
Yeah.
But as far as having a complete overhaul of your entire life, like within a week, that's probably not going to happen, right?
Yeah.
Coaching takes time. Right? And so it's a process. As with anything that's going to make complete changes in your life, it's a process.
Yeah. What role, because I talk to people a lot, and this word comes up a lot, mindset. What role does mindset come into play when you're coaching someone?
Yeah. So I can speak to this because I know for myself, I've been on the other side of that, where the mindset, it just completely wreaked havoc on my thoughts and how I was operating. And so with mindset, right, it's about being optimistic, being able to move forward, not being in a space where you're stuck, not being in a space where you're looking at everything with such pessimism that you cannot move forward, right? And, we talk about the glass being half full, half empty, that it really does make sense, because it's reframing our thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? When we reframe our thoughts, we reframe our actions as well.
Okay. How does accountability play a part in your coaching style for the person being coached? How does accountability play in part?
Yeah. So for me, like, I'm going to be your cheerleader. I'm going to be that person that's going to be able to push you forward, right? If you let me, right? I can't do it all for you, right? You have to be open to being coached.
Yeah. Anybody
that goes into coaching has to be open to being coached. If you have that mindset or thought that, like, nothing's going to change for me, or, I'm not going to take action, then you know what? There's nothing a coach can really do for you.
Yeah.
But as far as being held accountable with coaching with me, I'm going to be that person that's going to cheer you on, that's going to encourage you to take positive risks.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times we get into the space where we're like, risk is bad, very risk averse, and you want to stay put, you want to stay safe. Right?
Yeah.
But we are in a position where, safety is not going to move us forward. We have our comfort zone. Right? And people always talk about getting outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's not about getting outside of your comfort zone. It's really expanding your comfort zone, right?
Yeah.
It's about expanding it so that you can try new things, right? And in situations we worry about failing all the time, we have to look at things in a completely different way. It's not about failing. It's about how many times are you going to try? What are you going to try? So that you can get to that next step. If you fail, then are you going to bounce back? Are you going to get up and you're going to move forward? You're going to learn from those things that you made mistakes on.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like this is our third time trying this. I have to learn from those mistakes. How do you help people? Because this is something that I know I struggle with sometimes, and I know a lot of people struggle with this. When they do have a setback, how do you help them overcome that?
So, yeah. So as far as setbacks, sometimes we've heard this, from other people. Setbacks are just setups for greatness, right?
I like that.
And so
Setups for greatness. Make sure you write that down. Set up for greatness. That's what setbacks are. I'm gonna use that.
yeah, so just like the client that I just mentioned a few moments ago, right? She could have looked at that like this is the biggest setback that I've ever had, but
Yeah.
it was a setup for her greatness to be able to move forward, right? And so it's learning from those things that you encounter in life to be able to move forward. There's no growth in staying stuck. There's no growth
Wow.
there.
That is, I just want you to repeat that again. Setbacks are setups for greatness. And just sometimes when you're at your lowest point, where you just get, as they call it now, downsize from your job or your corporate job, and people say, "Oh, the world's going to end. I don't know what's going to happen," but they're setups for greatness. I need to write that down and make sure I know exactly what that. How do you balance the pursuit of success with maintaining overall well-being? So you're pursuing success, and of course you may have some setbacks, but how would you say, do you have some techniques that you use to help balance that, the stress of it all?
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, like for me, success is about enjoying life. That's a successful life to me. Of course, I want to be able to pay my bills. With that, I want to be able to do the extracurriculars that I want to do. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do the one thing that brings me complete joy, which is dance. And so
Nice.
I put myself out there, right? I am an introvert coach. I am an introvert. That's where I am for the majority of my day. Like I'm extroverting with you, but I know how to balance it. Right? I might be a little bit tired lately, later in the evening. But for me, it's about putting myself out there and dance, right? And so that not only does that bring me joy, but it brings other people joy when we are dancing and brings liveliness. So there's always something that you need to do. One of the things that I've learned too is, when you are, listen, I have an international health coaching certification as well. I didn't really dive into that because I want to leave a lot of that to the health professionals. But understanding that, 30 minutes a day of exercise in some way, shape, or form is really going to help you with your mental stability, right? It's about the foods that we're eating as well. What are you putting into your body? Your body, what they consider a lot of times is your temple, right? What are you doing to take care of yourself? And all of that goes into your well-being. Spiritual, what are you doing in your spiritual life? Whether you believe in a higher power or you believe in the stable growth within yourself, right? Are you believing in something bigger, right? And so it's about all of those things, right? Are you balancing those things for that well-being?
So you're saying, like, what you're tapping into is dance, exercise, maybe meditation for people. All those help you balance things. Very
You mentioned meditation. That's another thing that I do. So I do volunteer at a mindfulness center here in Indianapolis as a mindfulness meditation teacher. And so that's something that I definitely incorporate daily, right? It's just taking a moment. I hear people all the time, they're like, I'm so busy and I don't have time. But it's just like, do you have 5 or 10 minutes to slow your brain down? Just to be present with yourself. And you take those 5 to 10 minutes to be present with yourself. I guarantee you that you're going to want to expand on that. 5 to 10 minutes goes to 15, goes to 30, right? I'm not saying that, you should spend half of your day in meditation because you're not going to get anything else accomplished, depending on the type of work that you do. But definitely being present, taking those moments to be present, not living in the future, not living in the past, but having those goals that you want to set and focusing on each and every day. What is it that you can actually achieve to be able to move yourself forward?
That's so interesting that you said that. I just had a notary assignment with a guy he's buying a $260,000 car cash, and we're doing his transaction, and we just got to talking, and he said, "Oh, Daniel, you wouldn't believe it. 3 years ago, I was sitting here. I had a bad diagnosis from the doctor. I was sitting in my little apartment completely depressed. And I got this thing in the mail about meditation. And I just started meditating, just centering myself. And now, of course, like I said, he was just buying a $260,000 car cash.
Mm.
He has a nice home. He said it was all due to just recentering myself and putting the energy in the right place. So that's great. And you do the meditation, you do the dance, you do the exercise. Is great. Any final tips you want to give people that especially are coming from corporate America going into entrepreneurship? Maybe they have to go see an escrow officer that they want business from, and they get anxiety and the butterfly in the stomach. Any final tips you want to give them?
Yeah. So anxiety, butterflies in the stomach. I mean, again, you can reframe that. Really, it's the same feeling of excitement. Right? Anxiety and butterflies in your stomach when you're like nervous to be able to pursue something, it's that excitement. So look at it as that way. It's exciting. Oh, this is a new venture that I'm tapping into. But when you're going to visit an escrow officer, like visualize yourself being successful. Visualize yourself, like just take a moment, close your eyes and just visualize it. Like see yourself being successful. See yourself walking in there with confidence. See the reaction from them in a positive way, right? It's about just slowing things down, right? Not thinking about, oh, what if they don't like me? Oh, what if they, kick me out? Or what if I'm, disrupting their day? Don't look at it like that. Like you are of benefit to them, right? You're an asset for them. And if you don't present yourself to them, they will never know that. And maybe they don't accept you on the first time. Maybe they don't accept you on the second time or the third time, but you have to, especially as an entrepreneur, you cannot just give up on your first, second, or third try. There's always opportunities and you always have to continue moving forward.
Wow. Just powerful words there. Those little words, if you listen very carefully when she said, if you have those butterflies in your stomach and anxiety, reframe yourself. Reframe how you visualize yourself going through. Just powerful words. What we're going to do, thank you so much for coming to here for the third time. Thank you so much for coming. If you want to know more about Ms. Newbill, what she's doing, where she's going to be at speaking, I'm going to have a link in the description below so that you can see and follow her and maybe even use her as a coach. I highly recommend it. Using a coach is like taking yourself through a time machine and jumping over a lot of mistakes that you make. I wish I would have had her at the beginning of my career. So thank you again, Ms. Newbill, for coming, and hopefully we can have her again on here.
Third time's a charm.
Third time's a charm. Thank you. Like I said, if you make mistakes, you just got to keep rolling with it and try to recover. And setbacks are
setups for greatness.
Setups for greatness. If you like this, like and subscribe. See you at the next podcast.